Good start learning. Good morning. We're learning as this chutz for Shleima Filana Chaya Basarach. We're on Daf Tes Amud Beis, the middle of the Amud. Amr of Malkiah, about 7 lines down in the wide lines. Amr of Malkiah, Tanachad Bisilta, Him Chasra Kol Shu Psula. It says, this is the pasuk by a mincha. It says, Al Bnei Aaron Hakayim V'Kamatz Misham Aloi Kumtzai, that they should take the kmitza, they should take the kaimitz misilta from the flour, or mishamna from the oil. So midarshan misilta shem chaser kol shu psul. It says it has to be misilta, has to be all of the flour. Mishamna shem chaser kol shu pasul. That if missing any of the oil, it's also going to pasul. So that's one pasuk that tells you that the mincha cannot be missing any of the flour. What's left over from the mincha? It says minha mincha, the entire mincha. Prala mincha shechasra. He v'shechasra prala mincha shechasra. He v'shechasra kumtza v'shlo hiktam u'levanasa klum. It's coming to be memayit. It says minha mincha, that if the mincha itself is mechusar, or if the kaimitz is mechusar, or if the entire levina is not there. Levina, it has to be levina. There's no shear of how much levina you have to bring. So even if almost all of it is gone, as long as there's some levina, it's good. There's no shear for levina. So there, if it's entirely gone, it's no good. So you have to have all. It's saying you have to have all the components of the mincha cannot be gone. You can't have a chesaron in the mincha or the kaimitz, and the levina can't be gone. But in any case, but the point we're bringing the second pasuk for is we said prat la mincha shechasra, and we had brought the first pasuk. Misilta, that if it's missing from the mincha, it's possible. Now we have the second pasuk of minha mincha that also tells you shechasra. Trei kroi bechaseris lamali. Why do we need two psukim to tell you that a mincha that is missing, that is missing part of its flour, it's going to be possible? Lav chad la mincha shechasra koidim kmitza is now coming to tell you that a mincha that some of the flour was gone before the kaimitz, that it's going to be possible that you're not like Rabbi Yochanan had said, that you can go ahead and refill it, but rather you have to start over again. That Rabbi Yochanan had said you can go and do the kmitza anyway, and over here we're saying a pasuk that it's going to be possible even if the shirayim became a chusar after Aktara. But you have to do Rabbi Yochanan mitravayu. So this is these two. If these two psukim are coming to tell one before kmitza, one after kmitza, l'chayr it's contradicting Rabbi Yochanan on both of his shitas, right? Rabbi Yochanan said that if you have chesaron in the kaimitz, in the mincha before kmitza, Rabbi Yochanan said you can just refill that, add some more silas, and go do it. Go do the kaimitz, do the kmitza. And he said if you're missing from the shirayim after the kmitza, he said you can go ahead and do you can be mocked to the kaimitz in any case. So no. Like one is talking about the mincha before kmitza, the maybe in loy. When the Torah tells you that you can't be mechusar from the kaimitz, it's telling you that you have to refill it. It's saying Rabbi Yochanan would understand that that's what the pasuk is telling you, not that it's possible altogether, but rather you have to refill. It's coming to tell you that even though, like according to Rabbi Yochanan, would say that you can still bring the kaimitz, you can be makter the kaimitz, even though the shirayim is mechusar, but you cannot eat those shirayim if they're mechusar. The boilu, the divrei yom shirayim shechazar v'knisa l'Torah makter kaimitz. According to Rabbi Yochanan, who says if the shirayim are depleted before the haktara, after the kmitza, you could still do the haktaras of the kaimitz. Oisun shirayim. What's the din as far as eating those shirayim? Amaziri amakrav aniseres, v'lo aniseres min aniseres. Raziri says we learn it from the pasuk. The Torah says aniseres minha mincha la'aron l'banav kodesh kadoshim. That's in the following pasuk. That the what's left over you could eat, but not what's left over from leftovers. Meaning, if some of it is gone, then you cannot eat what's left over. So that would be Ziri would be saying this din of Rabbi Yochanan that he's saying that that's what the pasuk is coming to tell you. Rabbi Yana disagrees. He says when the Torah says minha it's not. It's saying that that you can eat the shirayim, because when it says minha mincha, it doesn't mean that the whole mincha. What it means to say is the mincha that you had, as long as it was a mincha, it was full at the time that it was a mekudesh, even though now after shirayim, but because of b'chusar, not only can you be kaimitz it, not only can you be makta the kaimitz, you can also eat the shirayim.
So Rav Ziri's shita is loy hanoisos min hanoisos, meaning you could take out one, missing one kmitza, but not
the kaimitz. It means the question is if after you separated the kaimitz, and then like we said, a mincha that's missing, that's mechusar, is like a mum. It's a flaw. So what happened if that flaw happened after you did the kmitza? So that means not from the kmitza itself, but from the rest of it, the shirayim. So in a way, that's the body of the carbon, so to speak. So Rabbi Yochanan will darshan that in spite of the fact that it's missing, since it's after you already took the kaimitz is going to, the pot is going to go on the mizbeach, and that's not missing. So you can continue with the kaimitz. It doesn't pass on the carbon. But the question is, what about the shirayim itself? The shirayim are supposed to be eaten by the kayin. Are they considered to be flawed and therefore not able to be eaten by a kayin? So he says he dashes from an isaris that it is flawed and it can't be eaten. And Rabbi Yanai says minha mincha, no, that minha mincha is coming for a different thing. It's coming from Hoysa Kvar, but it's not coming to tell you that the shirayim can't be eaten. Kamatz bisma. We're going back to the Mishnah. We said kmitza has to be done with the right hand. If you do it with the left hand, it's possible. Minani mili. Now we're going to have a couple of like a blot about right hands versus left hands.
Lefties.
Yeah. Now there's some things that have to be done with your left hand. But where does it come from that kmitza cannot be done bismal? Amrav Zera da Amakra. Vayikra v'samincha v'yamala kapi mimena. Kavze eni yadei amau. Torah says he should bring the mincha and he should fill his hand with the mincha. Kavze eni yadei amau. I don't know which hand it's talking about. We're going to learn it out from the din of Mitzayra. So Mitzayra has a very unique avodah, right? In addition, first of all, you do an avodah with a carbon and you take dam and you put it on the right thumb of the Mitzayra, as well as the right big toe of the Mitzayra. And then that's after you spritz the dam, and then you do that. And then afterwards, you take the shemen, you put some shemen, the Torah says, you put shemen into the left hand of a kohen, and you take from the kohen's left hand, and you put from that shemen the same place where you put the dam on the right hand. It's also the ear. So you put it on the right thumb, as well as the right big toe of the Mitzayra. That's the procedure. So it says, the kohen will take from the oil, and you put it on the kohen's left hand. That's like sort of the kli that you're going to use. That's the receptacle from which you're going to take the shemen to put on the Mitzayra's thumb and toe. So we darshan kan smoilus. Since the Torah says over here, the left toe, that tells you wherever else it says the hand or the palm of a palm, it's talking about the right. Now, I'll just give you a background that the psukim over here by Mitzayra mentioned kaf. What is the pasuk? The Tukava is boy Hayimanis Ben Hashem Ben Asher Al Kappa Esmalis. These are Hashem and it's boy Sheva Pamlut Ne Hashem. Hashem Yitzchak Koin Al Kappa Koin Hasmalis. It says twice. It says twice. There's two separate avodas for a mitzvah. You could have a ashir or a ani, and each one it says twice that you're going to do al kaf. It says it's going to be al boyin yadei hayimanis, al boyin raglei hayimanis. So it says twice on each one that it's going to go on to the right. I'm sorry. It says twice the left hand. When it says you're going to do on the that's why Hashem al kappa esmailus. V'ina Hashem that's why Hashem Hashem. So it says by ani, right? It says on the side over here it says ashir, ashir, and ani, ani. So it says twice smoilus, one by ashir and twice by ani. So we darshan, since it says smoilus, that tells you komak shen rakaf any element. Since it says left over here, that tells you everywhere else is right. What do you mean? How could you say that? I wouldn't know whether it's right or left. You have to say at least one time. You got to tell us what the din is here before you could start making drushes and saying it's telling you every place else. So like we said, there are four mentions of smilus. The Gemara says we have another smilus. So the second one is to tell you the goof, and the second one is to tell you that everywhere else it's the right hand. Maybe I'll tell you if it says smilus twice, that usually we say if you have two miyutim, it's coming to be mar, but to tell you that it's true you could do it on the left hand, but you could also do it with the right hand. It's giving you an option. So tomorrow smilus achrin ksiv. So we have a third mention of smilus. Ksiv kan smilus vein acha smilus. So it says here smilus, but nothing else is smilus. That's how we know that everywhere else it's the right hand. The ema hadarabba ma kan smilus apa almanami smilus. Said, why are you saying, since we have an extra pasuk, it's coming to tell you only over here it's your left hand and everywhere else is the right hand? And I will say exactly the opposite. It's coming to tell you wherever it says kappa, it means only the left hand. Maybe it's to tell you everywhere.
It's like a mamatzino, or
like a mamatzino, yeah. So the more arba smilus ksivi, treba ani v'treba asher. So we have to have four. So it's like it's a very interesting. It's interesting Gemara because like we're sort of like. You would say, first you say, and then we say, it would tell you have an option, then we would say that it's coming to tell you everywhere else that it's also smilus. Like, why would you think that these are the order in which you would analyze it? Maybe the first thing I would say is if it says smilus, I would think if it says smilus here, that would tell you wherever it doesn't say anything, it's supposed to be smilus. I don't know. It's hard to know. I guess if you want to be a Talmud Chacham, you'll use this as a source of when we have a bunch of miyutim. What do we use them for? This would be the order of analysis. Okay, we're on the 2 lines at the bottom of Tesam Beis. Amalei Rav Yirmiyah V'Zera. Al bayin yadei hayamanis, al bayin raglei hayamanis. Since we analyzed that which it says. And we're talking about the avodah of a mitzvah. So the avodah of a mitzvah is you put into the left hand of the kayin the oil, and then you take from the left hand and you put it on the right thumb and the right big toe of the mitzvah in order to be mitayr. So now, once we did the left hand, now we're going to move on to what it says the right hand. It's also repetitive as far as the right hand. What do we need to have that it says b'chlal that it goes on his big toe and on his thumb? It said the pasuk also says that you should put it on the place where the dam was put. Like we said, part of the procedure is first you put blood on the mitzvah's thumb and big toe. So and then it says you put the shemen on the place where the dam was. Amokim dam ha'asham. So what do you have to tell me again that it's on his right big toe on it? We already know. We already said where the blood goes. So if the oil is going in the place where the blood was, so we know it's his right big toe and right thumb. So Gemara, chad l'chach shir tzdadim, when it says al bayin yadai hayimanis, that's to tell you that it doesn't have to be. One would think that it has to be like on the top, only on the surface of his thumb. So it's coming to tell you, even if it's on the sides of his thumb, that's also good. And one is to tell you that it has to be on the top and not on the bottom. And it says that both by ani and by asher. So that's why you need all four mentions. Why did the Torah have to say that you? Since we have, like we just said, we're mentioning that the shemen goes on his thumb and on his big finger. We have to say it doesn't see this on, but Lamaisa we said that it goes onto his thumb and the shemen goes there. So why does it have to say that the shemen is going on the place of the? We said by the Asher, al Dama Asham, on the blood that was put there first, or al Makam Dama Asham, on the place where the Dam was put. Lamayasa, what did it have to say that for? So come on, because we know that's what you're putting in. Hani Tzrichi, you need them. Ikas Rachman al Dama Asham, if it would just say you put it on the Dam of the Asham, Havamina, Isay in Niskak Neach, Loy. It's only if the Dam is still there, that it's not saying that the place where you put it is the place where you put the blood, but it has to be actually on top of the blood. But if you were wiped off the blood, he would not be yaitza. That's why it says al makam dam asham in the place, but not necessarily on the blood itself. Because Rahman al makam, if it would say on the place, avamina davkan is kanech, that you have to take away the dam. Aval isa emachatzitza. I would say maybe if it said al makam dam asham, I would say that means only on the place. But if the dam would be there, it would be a interposition. It would be a chatzitza. And you would not be yaitza putting the shemen there. Kamashma and al dam hasham. That's what it said. Al dam hasham. You could do it either way. You could either wipe away the dam, or the dam could still be there. Either way, the shemen is going to be kosher. Amarav. Rava has a different analysis of this. Amarav. Me'achad dichsiv al dam hasham v'al makam dam hasham. Since it says that you place the shemen on the place of the dam of the hasham and the makam of the dam hasham by the ani and the asher. Uksiva yemanis bedam. And it says that you do the dam goes on the right. That the blood goes on the right thumb and the right big toe. So the ksivi b'shem and the mitzaris ashi v'anshi lomali. So why did it have to say? Why do we have to repeat that it goes on the right and left? That the shemen goes on the right and left hand, since we said it's going on the makam of the dam, which is really the kasha that we had before. Elo Amarava, we need all these. Bayin yad hayimanis, bayin raglei hayimanis, yad lekmitza. We needed a gzeir shava to tell you that kmitza should be with the right hand. So he's not learning like we had said that smoilus is coming to tell you, all the extra smoil is to tell you that everything else is the right hand. He says it's a direct zereshava. It says, and they explain, even though it doesn't say actually yad, it says yes, Hashem Hashal kapoy. Say kapoy and yad is the same thing. His palm and his hand, both you can make a zereshava, just like we said v'shava kain u'ba kain. And regal chalitza with the ragloi hayimanis bayin ragloi hayimanis by the ani and the asher is to tell you that chalitza is also done with the right foot of the isha of when he does chalitza instead of yibun. And oizen l'ritzia, it says that you do a bayin. It says you do it on the ear of the mitzayra. On the ear. That's tell you that when you do ritzia of an eved ivri, it also should be on the right ear. So frak the Gemara, smoilus lamai asa. Okay, so we said what the right hands are for, and he said he's not darshaning like we had said before. For like Rav Zera had said that you learn from smoilus that smoilus is the left, but not everything else, because he's learning it directly. We're learning it from Gzeira Shava. So what is the four times that it says that you put the oil in the kohen's left hand from which you take it? Why do you have to have it so many times? Amrav Shisha Brei Deravidi lifsul yamin the kohen b'mitzayra. it's coming to pass to tell you you cannot use the right hand of the kohen when you're putting the oil in it. Since even in a place where you can't use the smile, generally you do everything with the right hand, not with the left hand. Since everything is done with the right hand, generally we do everything with the right hand. So certainly in a place where the Torah says you could do with the left hand, you could also do the right hand. So that's why the Torah had to say smileless, tell you bedafka, smile, and not yamin. V'idach, smileless. And what about, it says it both by, it says twice, by both the ani and by the asher. V'idach, so they take this, how does he do this? V'idach smileless lamai asa, he takes out all the rest of this. What is the other smileless? Well, look at the Tanda of Rabbi Shmuel. Kol pasha nem v'nishus l'nishus el b'shvil davar shenish chadish bo. Since the pasuk is coming to tell you not only by an ani, also by an asher, it's only coming to tell you that you do the same thing by the asher. It's not coming to tell you anything additional. Amar Rabba Babachan Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. Kam makom shenemra etzba ukahuna. We're going to continue with our analysis of the general rules of right and left hand. So whenever he says, whenever it says the words etzba and kahuna, any yamin, that always means we make exer shava to mean the right hand. It says by the chatas, it says both koyin, koyin, and we learn from Mitzayra that it says also koyin and yamanis. So since it says, we learn chatas from Mitzayra, since by Mitzayra it says koyin and etzbay and it says the right, so we learn from there with exer shava to the lakacha koyin chatas betzbay. So this is his version of what Rabbah had said, that we learn yad l'kmitza. What about the din of when you actually take the kaimetz from a mincha? It only says kahuna utnan kametz mispoil pasul. In our Mishnah we had said that someone took a kmitza with his left hand, it's pasul. Amarava oy etzba oy kahuna. It has to be. It doesn't need. You don't need both the word etzba and the word kahuna. It could be either one. So since it says kahuna by kmitza, that tells you it has to be the right hand. When it talks about bringing the avarim of an oila, that has to first be brought to the ramp before it's brought up onto the medeach. It says kahuna on it. That you should bring it to the keves onto the mizbeach. That's a reference to bringing the avarim, the limbs of an oila, onto the ramp. Utnan. Haregel shayamin, the right leg of the animal, Bismail is brought in the left hand of the kohen, because he's holding, I think he's holding the emurim in his other hand, but in his left hand he holds the limb, and he holds it facing that the leather, the hide should be facing outwards, that the wound where it was cut shouldn't be visible. But in any case, you see that it's being able to be done with the left hand, even though it said kahuna. So that's only the things that are ma'akev, that are necessary. Bringing the avarim onto the keves is not an avodah that's ma'akev. If you neglect to do it, the carbon is still good. The being mekabel the dam, which is certainly davar ma'akev kaparu. If you don't do the kabbalas hadam correctly, it's one of the four avodas hadam that is ma'akev. Ukasaba kahuna, and it says kahuna d'chsev v'kiru b'nei Aaron hakohanim es hadam zu kabbalas hadam utnan kabel b'smail pasul. Tanakama says if you makabel hadam in your left hand, it's possible. Reb Shimon machsha. Reb Shimon holds it's kosher. So according to Reb Shimon, how could that be? It says kahuna, and it's davar ma'akev, so it should require the right hand. So the Rav Shimon Tarti boy. And Rav Shimon requires that it just say both kahuna and etzba in order to require the right hand. So the me by Rav Shimon Tarti, is that true? That Rav Shimon requires both etzba and kahuna in order to require the right hand. Rav Shimon Noima. Kol makom shenemar yad enei el yamin, etzba enei el yamin. Rav Shimon says that whenever it says yad, it means the right hand, and when it says etzba, it also means the right hand. He doesn't say anything about kahuna. So you see, he only requires one of the two, not both of them. So Gemara, etzba loy boy kahuna, kahuna boy etzba. Rav Shimon holds that enachanami. He doesn't mean that either you need both of them. He means that you need etzba. Kahuna is not mandatory. As long as it says etzba, it means the right hand. If it says etzba and kahuna, that also means the right hand. But if it just says kahuna, it doesn't mean the right hand. So Gemara, kayin lamali. What is the word kayin telling you according to Rav Shimon? Bikihuna. It's telling you that it has to be done in the big day kahuna. Correct the Gemara. Zrika loy kasa be'ala kahuna. By Zrika, it just says kahuna. It says Shachar ben Habaka as ben Habaka of Ne'ashev Yikuv Ne'aron HaKayim B'S Adam B'Zarko Es Adam Amazbeach Shava Asher Pesach Hayol Mayit. It says Yikuv Ne'aron HaKayim, but it doesn't say Etzba. Utnan Zarek B'Smail Pasal, that if someone does the Zrika of the carbon chatas, it's going to be Pasal. The Loi Palig Rav Shimon. Rav Shimon doesn't argue about that, as far as we know, at least in that Mishnah. Rabaya Palig Bebraisa. No, Rav Shimon argues about the Zrika as well. He'll hold that the Zrika, since it only says kahuna, it's not going to require the right hand. The Tanya Kibo B'Smail Pasal, Rav Shimon Machsher, Zark B'Smail Pasal, Rav Shimon Machsher. You find that Rav Shimon is Machsher, Zrika, B'Smail as well. Correct the Gemara, Valhada Amar Rava. Yad L'Kmitza Lamali. That which Rava said. What do you need? This was said on the previous Amud. He said Yad is to tell you that Kmitza has to be done with the right hand. Lamali Mikahuna Nafka. Why don't we learn it out from Kahuna? According to Reb Shimon. No, it's not according to Reb Shimon. I think it's so what is this? So we said before that where it says Rava had said where it says etzba kahuna, that tells you be yamin. So according to Rava, kahuna should tell you yamin without the zerushav of yad. So one is tell you that the kmitza itself, when he picks up the flour with his fist, that has to be done with the right hand. And the other one is after he took the silas into his hand and he then puts it into a klisharis, that also has to be with his right hand. It has to be, the klisharis has to be being held in a different kain's right hand. According to Rav Shimon, who says you don't need to be makadosh the kaimitz in a klishars. He says the kain who does the kmitza can go and bring it over directly onto the mizbeach and put it into the fire. Or lemanda amar nami de boy kiddush kaimitz, and even according to Rav Shimon, according to the Manda Amar that says that according to Rav Shimon you do need kiddush kaimitz, which is a machlekes amaroim. Ubesmoil echshur machshir, but he holds that it can be done with the left hand. So we don't need the pasuk for that either. Yad, the Rav Alamli. Again, what do we need? The extra yad. What do we need? The extra limit of the right. Ila kmitza gufa libeder Shimon. And if you'll say it's coming to tell you for kmitza, the actual kmitza, according to Rav Shimon, we learn that from Yehuda Rav Chia. My time of Rav Shimon. What is the reason for Rav Shimon that he says that it can be done, that the kmitza can be that the kmitza has to be done with the right hand. If you're going to put it into, if he's going to do the kmitza with his right hand and then go directly to the mizbeach and be maked the mincha, the kaimitz on the mizbeach directly from his hand, then he has to do like a chatas with his right hand. But if he's going to put it into the kli, then he can do it over the b'smail ka'asham. He's allowed to do it with his left hand, like the asham. Like we said, the asham mitzayra, you makabel the shemen with his left hand. So what do we need the pasuk of yad for? We need it for the kaimitz of a minchas chayta to tell you that also has to be done with the right hand. Like we had this cheshbon before. Since Rav Shimon had said that I might think that when you do a minchas chayta, you should have to bring, it should need shemen and should need levina, that the person who did who has to bring a carbon chatas, a minchas chayta, shouldn't get away with skipping paying for the oil and the levina. Maybe it should have to be what? Tamadoima, she says, we don't want him to have a beautiful carbon. So kikametz lanami, the smelt is kasha. I might think maybe you could also do it with the left hand in order that it shouldn't be mahudr. Kamashmal, and that's why we need a pasuk to tell you, an extra pasuk to tell you, yad tell you must be with the right hand. Okay, we'll stop over here. There's no mitzvah that we have to go later than necessary.